Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining Archangel Alts. And right now we're going to do a live market watch instant insights. So crypto market watch instant insights. And no better time than right now. So we're letting a little bit of that sit. That should be interesting. And I've got my reasons. So I'm actually going to go here to the most obvious place to start. Bitcoin making its moves today, 247 million plus 24-hour volume in $247 million as represented by Tether USDT. The smaller USD trading options, they're all treating anything that you trade against it other than the dollar itself, and the dollar itself, and the dollar itself, and the dollar, and the dollar, and the dollar, and the dollar, and OMG, which was doomed to fail after its soft launch. But that's gas for Ontology Coin, which is also suffering a little bit. But basically everything that you would be expecting to see trade against the dollar is up, and that means that it would be easier to do this way. So you can see in here USDS, USDC, PAX, they all have 3,800 plus for USDT for Bitcoin. It is actually, my goodness, Bitcoin is actually still staying over 3,900. I find that very impressive. When it was having trouble recovering between 3,200, 3,400, and 3,600, my hope was that the shorts would stop pulling it down and that we would see Bitcoin be able to maintain a 3,650. And then it goes and does this, which is super fantastic. This part of it and this part of it actually had an adverse effect on the altcoin market, and that's okay. It's set for with Ethereum, which right now, obviously it can't maintain as fast and up as Bitcoin can. It is one of the largest contenders, but still $144 compared to $3,900 is still not a behemoth. So in fact, you can see that even though Bitcoin is only coming down a few dollars, that has a little bit more substantial of a crestfallen for Ethereum. No. So mod at the top of the 24-hour change list, do not get fooled. So as you can see that even here at the top, it cannot contend with the other 109 or 1100 or 1900. It would have to go up in order for it to get back to where it was before the crash. Mod among 4 others that are being delisted from Binance, so be very careful. You can see this was an attempt at a pump as well. Cannot contend with the 3,600, 36,000. It would have to go back up. 31. The large amount would have to go back up. Wings, same deal, exactly same movement you can see there. And this is all just on speculation, people pumping and getting that fear of missing out, not knowing what they don't know. I want to find the other one first. There's 2 more. Sub. Which they tried and failed. And Salt. They tried and really failed. So please do not get fooled by this stuff. They are getting delisted. You don't want to be stuck in a coin with only about 3 days to try to figure out how to consolidate before they get delisted. So that is Wings, Sub, Cloak, Mod, and Salt. Watch out for those 5. Don't get fooled. Speaking of not getting fooled, yeah, I should have stuck with this in the alphabet. I do almost all of this from memory, so even if it's right in front of me, I sometimes don't even see it. But here we are at 24. 24 is actually trading strong for BTT. Please do not get stuck in a queue for 100 Bitcoin on a single position. 400 Bitcoin that's got to sell off at 25. Is it going to make it in that upward trend? Do you see all the binary? It just shifts back and forth between one position and another, trying to buy, trying to sell, trying to buy, trying to sell. Constant difference between the two. And so you have a constant buy or sell wall. And you can see that it's entirely made up of buying and sell walls. That's not healthy. So once it's done consolidating these buys, they might buy in at the next level up. But it's still, it's a very risky thing to try to do, guys. So please be careful there. I don't want to see you get stuck on a ledge. Because if this goes down and then the market starts recovering in other areas, people are not going to take that kind of risk to not have, let's say that you have 10 Bitcoin and you decided to circulate 2 or 3 of them in here saying, oh, wow, look at how fast it's going up. Most people did that in the 27, 28 range. Maybe it'll go back up there. It's not as much the point really as it is that I'm really concerned that you guys will get stuck, and however long it takes, you will not have that to circulate. So, trust me, it'd be better to be in the market than be stuck in one corner of the market. So, among my current disappointments, I'll be the first one to speak out on my own shortcomings. We're doing rather well, but I am a little bit disappointed in our activity on OST. I'd like to see it be able to get back up into the, let's just say 6, 20, 30, 40, 50 range. It peaked up here, hard spike, but it's done 850 in the past. The spikes are actually not uncommon, so I'm not really concerned about the long term. If you look at how long this is held pretty consistently in the 5, 6, 700 range, it hasn't bounced lower than that many times, maybe only one time at all. In fact, you may be wondering why I put these in. I'm kind of testing it at the low averages and then working my way up. So I want to let those sit for a little while before I bring it back out. But I'm kind of not wrong about this long term. You can see that even in here, the spikes are well over where we need to be. 800, 900, over 1,000, well over 1,000. Now this is actually, I don't expect anything close to this spike up here. That's more than, that's like 19x. Don't expect that at all. Don't really expect it in there either. But as we come down to the 1,000, maybe even 14, 1,600 range, yes, I do think that it is actually on its way to recovering well. So, this was unfortunate, but it wasn't really a natural movement, and I see more of a natural movement coming in the future. So I'm kind of, poised and ready to see that happen sooner than later. I don't really like seeing any, short-term positions become a hodl. So an unnecessary hodling football move. Phoenix is one of our coins that we care a lot about and would like to see that go ahead and finish this cycle pretty soon. And it's just within that window. You can see our Phoenix positions don't need a whole lot more to go. I think 285 was the top one. Yep, 285. And so same for looking at Raven. Everybody loves Raven. Well, we were back over here. I'll be the first one to point out my own challenges. We were in this range. You can see that it stayed well below. This white line is the volume. It's weighted against the price, and it really should have been able to cross over there. Should have been able to cross over there. Should have been able to cross over there. This is the one that, it looks like a high point there, but really this was the Bitcoin Cash hard fork that caused trouble for the whole industry. Yes, I will blame them because that's where the blame is due. Singles, we're not holding anybody. There's some interesting movement coming soon, I think, as this downtrend is maybe going to hit the high 290s and then bounce. That's my opinion. I am not a certified professional champion of crypto with a plaque on the wall. We just happen to be doing extremely well. We've done a 14-month test run and holding a 98.7% accuracy rate. We have, at the most on our one account, I have spread several different coins across 77 positions. Of those positions, they represent more than 8,000 cells alone. So I think that 90% would be what, 700, 800 positions would be 10% of 8,000. So we're actually over 99%, I think, on that. And we're over 99 point something percent on this where we're trading on the client right now. Looking at lots of interesting stuff. So we're hoping to see, STEAM has had a bit of a rough run, but we were happy to get all of our mid 800 positions cleared. We have some slightly longer term stuff that we're looking in the 1200 range, and that can be mimicked by, if you look over here, Bitcoin Cash hard fork happened right here. And before that, we were looking at 12,000 up to 14,000, and that was not a spike. That was its actual positions. The spike was up at 16,000. I don't expect it to hit 30,000 again, but I do expect it to be able to move at least one more decimal over, and that's all we need. So all of this is way above what we need for it to clear. Very happy about our standing there. Just don't like holding anything. Theta Coin is a very interesting one, and look what it's been doing. So this is a little bit steeper. Be careful of that. But I'm thinking that if you follow our principle of thirds, which we'll teach you about that when you join $99 a month, if you look in the 1900-ish range, it will consolidate pretty safely there. So everything above that is a little bit risky, but I think that there's some room for trading theta. I think it's really interesting. So the main thing is that whenever you see a cliff like this, the concern is that it doesn't recover halfway, but it did. But then, it's been going down from there. So if you were stuck over here, I mean, this is the good news, is that it did recover on its own and is actually down an upward trend starting to develop. TNT I really like. TNT is fun. It's not fun coin, but it is a fun coin. So it has been, moving. All we need to see is, we don't even need a full 1% to keep moving things forward. In fact, it's much safer not to try to push that too far. I'm actually going to come back over to OST real quick because there's what looks like could be a consolidation close in the future. Let me show it to you. As we zoom in, you can see that the trades are narrowing in. I haven't taught on indicators. Once you join, we're going to cover all of that stuff. It'll eventually be in our courses that people could pay for separately as well, but join free forever, and then come join us for your first 3 days free on the paid subscription. $99 for the month, every month reoccurring, and for $1,200 a year if you're trading $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 worth of Bitcoin, even better, 10, 20, 30, 40 Bitcoin overall. If we continue the trend that we are, which we've been doing in 60% down market, 50% after that, 60% on top of that. So things are, negative 87% to negative 90% plus. And yet we have been clearing thousands and thousands of positions, making very small 0.3, 0.5, 0.7% profit moves towards our freedom. So as you see here, when we teach you about the Bollinger Bands and everything, basically when everything converges, it's either going to break down or up. We're praying that this time it will be the next up, and you can see that little bit of a lip pointing that direction. Of course, it did it here, and that got us, we cleared some of our stuff over here and here, but we are looking for something much bigger. On our browser, I think we have some, higher 660s that we need to clear. And obviously, this was justified in this range over here, still well below the volume. But you look at the past of OST, and really once you get through the Bitcoin hard fork, Bitcoin Cash hard fork period, you'll notice that things have actually been fairly healthy for it for a long time. So I like the fact that it holds its average for long periods of time. And, even though, yes, you can see slight, down processes, it's probably going to resolve more towards the 600 and then hopefully go ahead and go up for us and for others. Woohoo. So let's look at just purely from the 24-hour change. Avoid this. Your choice. Don't trade a lot of EOS these days. BTG, Bitcoin Cash, ABC, Hotcoin, be careful. Sub, don't do it. Cloak, don't do it. SNM, people are trading SNM. I don't know why I'm not a huge fan. I don't have a logical reason for that. I have it on the scanner and I watch it go up and down. It doesn't do it extremely often, so I guess that's part of it. Scanner is telling us Storm is down. That's not really a big deal because it'll be immediately up again. It just has to bounce back and forth in binary. ADA, yes, very interesting one. And if you look at this, it's done a really wide range. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that as we trade today, very cautiously. So it didn't really follow the same pattern as Bitcoin in its way up, but it is mimicking it back up. So this was much more, well, actually, yeah, it is kind of, the 15-minute of ADA is mimicking the 1 minute of Bitcoin, and that's kind of strange, but it looks like that's the way it's working. We're going to keep an eye on the ADA. That might be a good one to trade today. Avoid wings. It's going to be delisted soon. They're just trying to pump it before it's gone. Bitcoin Cash SV. Yes, they call it Bitcoin SV. It's a really bad thing to do that. TNT is up. Bitcoin Diamond is up. If you can call 197 up. Very interesting. Ethereum having a really great day. Oops, it jumped while I was doing that. 20,000. Now it's at 19,000. So, okay, be careful as you see this slow down. People get a little bit scared and start selling off prematurely. Be very careful. Litecoin always tends to be good, always tends to be fairly stable. It's had one really big up here. So just keep in mind that anytime you see this part of a pattern, if you see it start to go down a little bit, just be cautious, be ready to sell. If you are already at a profit, once it hits a certain cliff, it may not recover. If this is the beginning of a real bull run, that would be the news of the century. I don't think that this is it yet. But if Bitcoin stays up above 3,800 for a week, then I would expect to see more stabilization happen going into good volatility instead of people freaking out volatility. Probably not World Trade Center coin, but I just kind of always classify it as that. But, I think that it's just experiencing the first of a rebound from getting pulled down and then coming back up. So over the past couple of days, that's kind of what we've seen. TNT, I really like trading TNT, and you can see that there's lots of movement here, lots of things to take advantage of. We really only need it to move about 3. It just has to be the right 3, very cautious. DGD, not really trading much right now. You can see why. Okay. MCO, lots of spikes and then nothing. So just be careful, it doesn't have a steady heart rate. Go. Go where? Go here to look at Go. Actually, a little bit of a fan of Go. Sometimes we get in and out. There's, we like to call this Morse code for extremely obvious reasons. But, it has to move about 5. 3 and 4 is fine. It's just a little bit slow. So if you don't have to resort to the slowest of slows, then that's fine. OMG, not really looking to trade it right now. Dash is more of one of those long-term speculative coins, so it shouldn't do as drastic as what you see here if it is truly the future of coins that we expect to see. So it's something that, if you're more speculative over days and weeks, more mid and long-term length, you might enjoy that. BNT is the Bancor, and it remains, towards the small side on volume, but one of the leading economists is involved in that project. I don't really want to exploit his name, but we've studied him since back all the way to 2011. Be very careful. But as far as trading the coin, it stays small, but it makes moves, so keep an eye. S&T is another one of those kind of like S&M, not for any reason that they're so similar in name, but I'm not huge about it because sometimes making move of 3 and 4 and 5 is too much for it. So we don't like to go slow if we don't have to. Usually it kind of gets stuck in binary on its way down. So, be very careful. It's easier trading it up than down, and how are you supposed to know that until it already happens? Dent, I would be careful because of the spiky quality, the binary movement, lots of Morse code, and whenever something this small in value has 60, 70, 80 million on every position, you just have to be really careful. RCN is up, as our scanner tells us. Key went from 73 to 74, just seeing that now. I would be careful if you're looking for just short term, which that's where we're going to make the majority of our moves, is in the short term. In cash is still stuck at 46 after the drop. We're looking for it to get a total of, what is it, 61, 60 that we put in there. We intentionally have this as a longer term play, so I just watch it purely out of curiosity, but we don't really have much on there. We just have that running so that whenever things are slow, there's something that will eventually clear there. Very disappointed with IOST, but that's okay. It was making its moves up. It came up to 197, and we were getting ready for it to clear, and it just lost it from there. Bitcoin brought it down. This is not within one of those coins that's at the right amount of volume for it to get a resurgence from Bitcoin. So it's going to take very slow, very steady for Bitcoin to do its thing and help us get back up there. So hey, if you're speculating on a coin, help us out. IOST, you can see that its average is probably 400. I would feel safe in saying that we should be able to see it get up there pretty soon. More in the 250 range. I wouldn't risk too much higher, depending on what your plans are. Follow our process. I believe that you'll, you do so at your own risk. We don't have any certified kind of plaque of cryptoness. I'm not moving to New York, so that part's not going to happen. Looking at these. This has been dancing around a bit. You can see that with Binance, it is representing 19854 as 198. So you have to drop those last two digits to see what it's really going to do. It's had a high and low 193 to 207, which actually is pretty good. Storm is up. It's actually headed towards its more healthy range. It's at 79. Salt, don't do it. BCD is up. REQ is up. So we'll take a quick look at REQ. We have a lot at a much higher earlier position that we still, it'll take some time for hours, but that doesn't mean that we won't trade it in the meantime. We've made a lot off of it. So look at what it needs to do longer term for us. Is before that spike, you can see that somewhere around this 800 range is really a more healthy conservative average. There it is at more than double. Now, obviously, how much things have come down. We try to stay in the bottom third. If it only goes, if we only needed it to double, it would still be nothing compared to 3,300 there, 5,500 there, 7,000 there. DLT is up again. Tend to prefer some of the others to DLT, but it's kind of interesting. It's kind of making its way. You can't really see it from here. Let me show you. So there we go. Isn't that amazing? That whole thing is wrapped up, and when you look at it in perspective, all of that spikiness is right here. It hasn't even come up to its most recent averages around 2,500. So there's actually some room for upward mobility in DLT. Just have to be really careful. Don't get stuck on the edge of a cliff, and you'll be fine. DNT, we're waiting for it to get back to where it was before the Bitcoin hard fork. Almost there. So you can see that, from peaking over here to peaking over here, it would average in the 450 range. And we're actually just slightly less than that. But from the longer perspective, 450 is nothing compared to the 1200, which I think that probably 700 is its tipping point. So we'll have to wait a little bit of time for those to clear. But as far as our HODLs go, we're not holding on for dear life because we believe in it so much, as we are, stuck where we are and trying to make forward movement. So, wow, gas. We've cleared all of our gas positions. Well, okay, sudden color change, that's fine. All our indicators just switched to a different color. That's funny. That's just weird. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. Duh. Okay. I was going to say, I do not recognize that. What is that strange imposter? Okay, so gas took a hard drop right here. 639 actually represents 639 and decimal. So you just have to visually remember that when you're going in on gas. I'm actually curious. So one more look at OST. It's still kind of zeroing out over here. It just doesn't have the volume to do its big up yet. I have faith in it. I have faith in the Lord, but I believe that this coin is going to do what we need it to do. So things are actually dropping a little bit. And remember, as it goes into the evening, things tend to slow down a tiny bit, and then they pick back up either at 6 at night, 9, 11, 12, or 1 a.m., or 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., or 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. So we will be trying to be at it round the clock no matter what it does. But I am curious. Now I'm going to let these out for a bit. And I want to check out gas and see whether there is sensitivity to a rebound yet. So, this could be a cliff as it goes beneath 639, but there's always a chance that it's got something in there. So let's find out by kind of coming up shallow. I like to get my feet wet before getting into a trade. And yes, it is very, very high in liquidity for it to be that easy to get its response. So everybody, keep your eyes on the market. In fact, this would already be a good one to get in on. Just one last look at gas. Obviously this was, an unprecedented thing we made profit on. Happy to have done so. I'm checking things on my sidecar laptop real quick. Very interesting. And yeah, we cleared all of our gas over there as well. So in looking at what this means for the long term, it has sat between 5 and 6 for a really long time. It's not an extreme thing. For overall health of gas, I want to see where it was before the Bitcoin Cash debacle, also known as a hard fork, also known as an ongoing dispute. So it was averaging in the 800s. I think that it should expect to get back up there in the next couple of months, if not sooner. So at some point in time, if the market continues to pick up, which I've seen these things happen before where it's really exciting and then it just does not keep up the momentum. But if it does keep up the momentum, then we will try to implement in our private group some rapid fire sessions, which are not expected to maintain exactly as high in accuracy, but it is one of our side strategies where you can pick up some percentages rather quickly, just because if the volatility is there and I am in the room in the right headspace for things, we can pick up a lot of positions very quickly, and you just decide immediately if it's not the right thing, then you just go ahead and clear out of it. Those are the only times that we would not think of everything as a hold if we didn't immediately clear it. It hasn't been the market to even go into the rapid fire sessions. So, but we have tested that considerably, and it usually is pretty amazing. So the only challenge there is if a coin doesn't have the liquidity to clear something, and then it's not really your fault. You called it right, but it wasn't able to finish the trade. So lots of interesting stuff. We're going to be watching OST, we're going to be watching ADA, we're going to be watching Doc and Fuel and STEEM and ARC, possibly several others. So as we transition over into our live trading, we're just excited for you to join us on all this stuff. And please subscribe to us on YouTube, ring the bell so that you get notices when we post new videos. We will be live trading with you, Archangel Alts Trading Live without a net. Please join Archangel Alts, the $99 for $3 a day. You get 3 days to check it out for free. And we are looking to get like a first 50 subscribers very quickly. We're just getting through with the soft launch, and sometimes that can drag out a little bit, but we're looking to transition more into this, sharing all these things with you on our channel instead of just doing so under the radar and earning our own profits. We're here to help other people get through this challenging market. And thank you for checking out the crypto in the news, and thank you for checking out Market Watch. God bless you guys. Bye.